Welcome to This Explainer. You know that feeling when you've just put your heart and soul into creating something, you hit publish and crickets? Just flatlining metrics? It's incredibly frustrating. Well, today, we're diving into some fascinating source material that's going to completely flip how you think about audience targeting and algorithmic growth.
Right off the bat, let's look at this striking reality from our source material. When 50 to 70% of people click and watch, the algorithm goes into overdrive. Think about that for a second. It literally proves the algorithm wants to reward you. It's not trying to hide you. When a piece of content hits that sweet spot, where more than half of a test group actually clicks and stays engaged, it's like pouring pure rocket fuel into the system. It just goes into overdrive. So, if the system is literally designed to push good content, why do so many creators end up failing?
To answer that, we've got an awesome lineup today. We're going to cover the algorithm myth, the 20-person test, the total addressable market, the power of a small circle, and finally, wrap it up with the AVE framework. Let's get into it.
All right, Section 1, the algorithm myth. Relearning what you think you know about content categories.
So many frustrated creators ask this exact question. Is the algorithm my enemy? They see their views flatline and immediately think the whole system is rigged against them, right? They blame the algorithm instead of, well, taking a hard look at their own strategy. But the source material is super clear on this. The algorithm is absolutely not your enemy. It's actually just a highly rational sorting machine that is practically begging you for clear signals.
And that brings us to a massive paradigm shift. A niche isn't just some broad topic like cooking or finance. No, it's a specific mindset or audience pool you create content for. Most people think their niche is what they talk about, but actually, a true niche is exactly who you are talking to. It's a highly targeted group of real people with shared anxieties, shared dreams, and shared curiosities. Once you start treating your niche as a living, breathing person instead of just a subject category, I promise you, everything changes.
Moving on to Section 2, the 20-person test. How the system blindly evaluates your new content.
The source outlines this really fascinating chronological process of what actually happens behind the scenes. When you upload something to a brand new channel, the algorithm has absolutely zero data on you. Nothing. So, it runs a blind test. It takes your tags, your thumbnail, your internal keywords, and it randomly but calculatedly shows your content to a tiny test pool of just 20 people. Just 20. Then it obsessively watches what happens. It evaluates the click-through rate and retention from those 20 individuals. If they bite, boom, the algorithm assigns you to that permanent audience pool and pushes you out wider.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. If you send the wrong signal, you're pretty much doomed. Take this example from the source. Imagine a doctor makes a highly educational, maybe slightly funny video about a medical cure for hemorrhoids. But because the tone or the metadata was a bit messy, the algorithm gets totally confused. It ends up testing this medical video on an audience pool that usually watches wholesome family vlogs. Naturally, those viewers are going to scroll right past it. The click-through rate tanks to zero, the algorithm assumes the content itself is terrible, and your momentum is just killed instantly. Sending the wrong signal drops you into the wrong pool, and recovering from that, man, that takes months.
Which brings us to Section 3, total addressable market, the hard math behind audience sizes and views.
To really understand this, the source uses this brilliant analogy called the milkman math. Imagine a milkman in a tiny village that only has 50 houses. It doesn't matter if he's selling the absolute greatest, freshest milk on planet Earth, he literally cannot sell milk to 100 houses. The baseline market size just isn't there. It's the exact same for you as a creator. You can't force millions of views if the total addressable market, or TAM, for your specific topic is naturally small. But hold on, because as we're about to see, a small market definitely does not mean small success.
Let's look at a real-world breakdown from the source. Take global graphic designers. Let's say the total addressable market is about 2 million people. Out of those 2 million, roughly half, so 1 million people, are in the learning phase. These are the folks actively hungry for educational content. They're watching tutorials, they're buying courses, they are highly engaged.
Now here is where the math gets really exciting. Let's say that 1 million designers in the learning phase spend, I don't know, roughly $100 a year on their education. That creates a $100 million market. If you can capture just 1% of that highly targeted learning market, you're generating $1 million a year. It's wild, right? This mathematically proves that small, hyper-targeted niches can be wildly profitable. Building real alignment with a specific audience matters so much more than chasing vanity metrics and hollow views.
All right, Section 4, Power of a Small Circle. Why shrinking your target audience actually increases algorithmic success.
Let's compare 3 completely different approaches to fitness content. Creator 1 goes after general fitness, just basic weight loss. That target audience is massive, sure, but the competition is absolutely brutal, and the algorithm has no clue who specifically wants this. Creator 2 narrows it down a bit to busy entrepreneurs. Definitely better, but still pretty broad. Now look at Creator 3. They target vegetarian Indian male entrepreneurs who want to lose weight without a gym. Wow, the competition there is extremely low. And more importantly, Creator 3 is giving the algorithm a crystal clear signal. The system knows exactly which 20 people to test this on, which basically guarantees a massive click-through rate and incredible viewer loyalty. To achieve that kind of clarity, our source introduces something called the lens strategy. Instead of boxing yourself into one single topic forever, think of your content as a lens. For instance, imagine your target avatar is a 25-year-old middle-class professional trying to figure out life. You don't have to just make career videos. Through their specific lens, you can talk about fitness, like how to stay in shape when you can't afford a crazy expensive gym membership. You can talk about finance, maybe debunking investing advice that's obviously meant for rich kids. You can talk about productivity. The topics can change all the time, but the lens you view them through never does. The algorithm learns exactly who this viewer profile is and just keeps feeding your diverse content right to them.
Let's bring it all together in Section 5, the AVE framework, an actionable strategy to fix your algorithm signals.
The AV framework is the ultimate solution here, and it's beautifully simple. A stands for avatar. Stop picking broad, vague topics and start choosing a specific, living, breathing person with real anxieties and curiosities. V is for value loop. You have to maintain a consistent engagement signal. Honestly, the algorithm doesn't really care what your specific topic is on any given day, it just cares that the engagement signal stays high, which teaches the system to trust you. And finally, E is for expansion. Always start by dominating a really small, highly specific circle. Only after you totally own that small circle should you gradually start expanding your topics outward.
I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with one final provocative thought from the source material. Next time you sit down to plan out your content, do not ask yourself, what topic should I talk about today? Instead, you need to ask, exactly for whom am I making this? Until you can clearly picture who is sitting on the other side of that screen, you are always going to be fighting an uphill battle against the algorithm. But the second you define your avatar, that algorithm stops being your enemy and becomes your most powerful growth engine. Thanks so much for joining me today. Now go figure out exactly who you're talking to.